All right, y'all, we are live on this beautiful Tuesday afternoon. Blessings to everybody in the name of Jesus, Yeshua, the Messiah. Even if you are not religious, I still pray you and your family are super blessed. As the Bitcoin price today, guys, is in the exact same place as it was yesterday. But a lot's happened. In fact, earlier this morning, as you can see, we came and did a stop hunt of the high that we made over here on the 12th of February, which is actually another word for April. Because I don't know what month it is anymore, guys, and neither do you. If you're at these charts every single day trading Bitcoin, you don't know what day it is, you don't know what month it is, it doesn't even matter anymore. We're just here to try and FOMO long every time we see a big blue candle and FOMO short 100x full count every time we see a purple candle. We don't have time for things like calendars and days and times and clocks and sleep and friends and lives and families and all that weird stuff, okay? You can see that we had this high from a few days ago, the weekend. We just took the liquidity, nice stop hunt, market maker, make everyone think we're going to break out, and then boom, drop it back into the range. But we're going to be talking about some macro TA today and why I'm actually pretty bullish on Bitcoin. And I did make a poll in the chat today. I asked, are we going to see a new all-time high on Bitcoin this year? 78% say yes, and I'm actually feeling myself deep in the soul. Deep in the soul, guys. A little bit of bullishness. Alright? I feel some bullishness. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to everybody in the chat. As usual, if we can get 1,500 likes in the first half hour, we will be giving away $1,000. And yesterday we did multiple giveaways. We did a $250 giveaway, and then we did $500 giveaways. Over here at the Jason Casper YouTube channel, we pay you to stay. That's our slogan. We keep it that way. We give it to you straight. We never give it to you gay. By the way, guys, BLOFIN currently offering 10% cash back, $1,000 future bonus, chance to win all these juicy prizes. Plus, BLOFIN is oftentimes giving away $100 to multiple people who sign up using my link. Just like yesterday, BLOFIN, shout out to BLOFIN, gave away $500 to 5 of you who signed up under the Jason Casper link. Also, guys, BITUNIX is offering a 20% rebate on your deposit up to $400. And depending on your ROI, for those who sign up under my link, you can win these juicy prizes. Depending on your trading volume, you can win these juicy prizes, like one whole Ethereum, or potentially sharing in a prize pool of $60,000. Wow, pretty dang cool, pretty dang amazing. Also, guys, if you want to join the best trading community in the world, you can go to jasoncaspertrading.com, click the link to join the best trading community in the world. Got to give a major shout out to Market Cypher. Best trading indicator on TradingView, link in the description, all that stuff. Guys, let's get into these charts, all right? Because it is a Tuesday, it's a Tuesday, and Bitcoin is struggling after making a nice looking bottom here. Now, just to recap, the Bitcoin price did in fact get a little bit of a dump into a very key zone, all right? This is a very key zone. We're gonna call it the danger zone. The reason why we call it the danger zone is, well, because if we look at the chart over here, you can see that it's labeled danger zone. Why is this the danger zone? Well, this is the danger zone, guys, because if the price actually comes into this area and does not get a bounce, we will be changing structure for the first time since November 2022. The structure is that every single range we form here, like a sideways range, we break out. We form a sideways range, and then we break out. Then we form the sideways range. Then we break out. We form the sideways range. Then we break out. We form the sideways range, and then we break out. So if we come down into the previous range, that is a very significant change of bull market structure, something we don't want to see. So as we're coming into the danger zone, we recognize that we might get a bounce from this box that could lead us to a new all-time high. Very similar to what happened over here in August 2024, we came to backtest this very key level to the dollar, 49.045. A long trade I took live in the Casper Crew VIP New York Open live stream, and I told everybody I'm longing right now. All right, told everybody I'm longing right now, because it was such a key support resistance flip, the danger zone, where if you come to this level, you expect either a big bounce moonshot or so happens that the bull market's over and we go back all the way down to negative $23,000. Yes, that's right. Negative $23,000 Bitcoin is my bear market target. Isn't that crazy? People say it'll never happen. It'll never happen. But look, here's the thing. We are coming to the danger zone. Now, when we look at our weekly market cipher B, This is where things are really, in my opinion, starting to look extremely bullish. Now, in 5 days and 7 hours, we are going to confirm a very rare bullish signal. A very rare bullish signal, which is the following. A green dot confirmed on the weekly time frame, but that's not what makes it a rare bullish signal. Because we saw rare bullish signals, we saw a green dot on the weekly here, we saw a green dot on the weekly here. It wasn't until this green dot on the weekly that we actually got a big pump to the upside. Why is this green dot so significant? It's because this is printing a bullish divergence on our weekly time frame. A hidden bullish divergence. As the price is making a higher low in an uptrend, connecting the lows together, the oscillator is making a lower low. Now, this has happened only once before in the bull run. The last time this happened was August, technically September is when it confirmed, 2024. All right. Of course, we had a green dot down here. This is a nice trigger wave. So look at the structure here. We have our regular bullish divergence at the bear market bottom. Regular bullish divergence, big momentum wave, skinny momentum wave. Looking like a set of uneven butt cheeks, juicy, big on the left side, skinny on the right side. Left side, full of ravioli, ricotta cheese, gravy just squeezing out of the left butt cheek. Right butt cheek, definitely very, very... Well, it's not full of gravy. It's not full of ravioli. There's nothing in there. It's an empty cheek. That gives us our big pump. Then we get ourselves a trigger wave. A trigger wave is after the bottom signal, which is the bullish divergence, right? The bullish divergence is the bottom signal. Then, when the momentum comes back down to this under the zero line and gives us another green dot, that's called a trigger wave. That's going to now give us our higher low, pushing us to a higher high. And then, after you get that initial bottom signal, first continuation signal of the trigger wave, every time now you print a lower wave, as we continue in this uptrend, that is known as a hidden bullish divergence, all right? You can think of it as the momentum coming deeper under that zero line to give us a bigger push to the upside, right? That's exactly what's happening right now. Now, you might be asking yourself, Jason, why are you so bullish about this hidden bullish divergence? Well, the reason is because when we go to our 3-day time frame, we are not only seeing a hidden bull div on the weekly, but we are seeing a regular bullish divergence as well. We are seeing the coveted uneven butt cheek pattern printing here on our 3-day time frame. On our 2-day time frame, we're also seeing the coveted uneven butt cheek pattern. On the daily time frame, we are seeing the very bullish money flow getting higher, purple stuff getting higher, momentum waves getting higher. We're seeing BitBoy butt cheeks. What's a BitBoy butt cheek, you ask? BitBoy butt cheeks. We have these big BitBoy green dots, the big Ben Armstrong dots. As the price is printing the bullish divergence, the uneven butt cheek pattern, that's called BitBoy butt cheeks. Now, the way you tell whether or not a hidden bullish divergence it has a likelihood of playing out is by zooming in, right? Because when you're on the weekly time frame, you can't really tell if this green dot is likely to like confirm, or is it just going to like disappear and we come lower? Because we've seen it disappear and come lower before, right? So let's go back in time and look at how things were looking in these other green dot zones, right? Those other green dots on the weekly, look at what the daily was looking like here, right? The daily was like right in the middle, right around this area. The daily right around here, right in this area. You can see the daily is giving us bullish divergences, and then as we are printing the bullish divs on the daily, we're also getting the green dots on the weekly, and that just pretty much marked the bottom of that entire chunk of price action, right? That just so happened to be, where were we? Right over here. This zone where we were right here, this was the bottom before the big push to the upside. So we're seeing something very, very similar. Hidden bullish divergence on the weekly, regular bullish divergence on the daily. I have to say, I expect the next few months to be bullish. I'm going to go out on a limb and say that Jason Casper is bullish. I'm bullish. I'm going to go out on a limb and say that I'm high-term time frame bullish based on these signals. Okay, now that being said, that doesn't mean to long now if you're on leverage. It does mean we need to wait for a setup. I am open to the possibility of another drop to the downside before the big move happens. But, This is looking really nice to me. I'm actually feeling bullish, more bullish than I was feeling this whole way down, because this whole way down we weren't seeing these bullish signs all coming together as we're holding key support. Now, what do we need to do to get out of the bearish woods for Bitcoin? We really do need to reclaim 90,000. Right now, that's the value area low of this upper range. Once we come back inside, see, look at this support resistance flip here. All right, let's clear off everything from the chart except this line right here. This was our support all throughout January. Now this is our resistance all throughout March. If we come back into this area, the probabilities say we come back to the highs. All right, this is just the way it is. Look at what happened over here. All right, we had our support once, twice, 3 times. We closed the weekly candle below. As soon as we came back, boom, we made a new high. We can go back to January. We had the support. All right, now this happened on a lower time frame. You'd have to go to like the daily to see it. But look at the pattern of basically this is the 12-hour time frame. We had our support. We came below on the 12-hour time frame. We had 1, 2, 3, 4, and a few candles of consolidation here. So all in all, we stayed below that support for, let's see, from the 22nd to the 26th, so like 4 days. And once we came back above $40,000, bam, off to the upside. So we're looking at something very, very similar potentially happening right now. And I think this could happen. And I think that we could see a very fast move to the upside with that weekly time frame. Again, this is not only a support resistance flip, but this is also the value area low of the range, okay? So what happens is the market's always looking to establish what is fair value for an asset. When we're looking at these volume profiles, this is showing us that the market has determined this to be fair value for an asset. Whenever the price comes above fair value, you look for a correction to the downside because price is too expensive. You look for a correction to the downside. Whenever we come below fair value, you look for a correction to the upside. When you spend a long time under fair value and then the market comes back into that fair value zone, this is just confirmation that, yeah, indeed, this was undervalued Bitcoin. And now the market's telling us we need to come back to fair value. And when you come back inside a previous fair value zone, probabilities are highest. They actually fill back to the top of that fair value zone. This is why we look for trades in a range, all right? Because trades in a range, you're looking for those shorts at the highs, the longs at the lows. It's just based on what's fair value, what's overpriced, and what's underpriced. And when you see bullish signals on a chart like that, man, oh man, juicier than a fresh slice of cold watermelon on a hot August day. You're out there in the homestead working hard, picking the watermelons. You pick one, your wife puts it in a cooler full of ice, you let it simmer in there for a while. Take that first bite after you're hot, you're sweaty. That's what our weekly time frame is looking like right now. Okay? So that's what I'm looking at. Again, these things take time. That's something else I do want to say. I'm feeling bullish, but remember, this right here, this whole process took us, before we actually saw a big breakout, it took us it took us 3 months almost, all right? So I'm not sure about the time frame of this, but I do know when you confirm those big green dots, hidden bullish divergences, once you have confirmation, you usually, now not all the time, but most of the time, you have a chance to get into a nice trade after the confirmation. Let's look at every major bottom here on the weekly during the bull run. We had ourselves time to get in. You get the confirmation of the green dot. Now think about it. We see the whole week of the dot printing. You don't do anything. Then the dot confirms. All right. Then that next week, all right, we get a drop of about another 4 or 5%. From the close of the green dot, we come down 5. And then for the next 2 weeks after that, we come down even more for a total of like 6% move to the downside before the big pump, right? Same deal here. We confirm the green dot, then we get downside slow for the next 2 weeks of about 7.75% before the big pump. So my point here is, and even right here, right, we confirm the green dot, and then we end up with 3 weeks of downside, 10%. What's my point? My point is this. We're seeing the bullishness, we can get excited, but there's no need to follow. All right, wait for a good setup. There's plenty of opportunity to get into a good trade setup, but this is building a bias, in my opinion, where I'm looking to hold long trades back to the top of the range within the next few months, right? I'm going to be looking to hold my longs as swing trades because we are coming down to major support, which is this, right? We are seeing bullish signs now starting to form on the chart. We're slowing down. We're forming a little bit of a range here. I'm open maybe to another drip to the downside just to come and touch these key supports, resistance flips that we have here. But don't be shocked. Don't be surprised that if, May, June, we are seeing Bitcoin back in the hundreds of thousands of dollars. And I could be wrong. It's very rare for me that I come out on a limb and make a bold statement about my bias. I'm usually very neutral. But look, it's rare when you see stuff like this happen. We've had it happen only 3 times in the last 3 years. So that's why it's so rare that I come out with such a bold bias on the market. But it's because these very clear high time frame signals are very rare. And when you're in the middle, right? Like right here, when you're in there's no clear signal on the high time frame, you're like, I don't know. It could go up, it could go down, and guess what? It does both, right? But now that we have a clear bottom forming, 5 days, 7 hours. Let's wait and see how this thing confirms here. Now, this is the Bitcoin price, okay? If we make another high, all right? If we make another high, I think we could see around $115,000 to $120,000. And based on the Fibonacci extensions here, trend-based Fib extension, low to high to low. Let's see, what is going on with this thing? Yeah, so based on the Fibonacci extensions, our next major resistance is around 120. And then this 2-to-1 Fib says 152, but that's not right because I don't know. I have it on log scale or something. It's real. I'd be looking just, there we go, around 145. This is like more like when we take it off log scale here. When we take it off log scale, we're looking at like 120. Our next major target, and then like 145 would be my next major target after that, based on our trend Fibonacci extension. And this is not exact because I'm not using the magnet tool. I'm just kind of pulling it. But these are pretty much my next targets if we're going to make another high here. All right, so potentially we're talking another, from where we're at right now, 43 to 73% on Bitcoin for our big cycle top, okay? Again, we were talking about multiple scenarios. One scenario here is a bearish scenario where the Bitcoin price loses this area, comes down to retest the low 50s before getting our all-time high. The other scenario is that we bounce from this green box. And right now, I do have to say I'm leaning very heavily towards the bounce from this green box, okay? Now, this is the Bitcoin price, but when we look at other assets here, such as ETH, we have to recognize the fact, too, that ETH is in literally bear market prices again, okay? So if the Bitcoin price, if the Bitcoin chart is a harbinger of things to come, then objectively speaking here, ETH right now, I mean, the fact that we have ETH, under 1,500, we're coming down to major support, okay? This is major support. If the bull run is going to continue, if we just objectively look at this chart, okay, this is a good place for ETH. All right, now like I said the other day, let's assume ETH even drops to $300. Now I have a target of ETH of 5,500 for a first major take profit on my spot ETH. Okay, even if ETH were to drop to $300, the risk to reward on this right now is still a 3-to-1. In other words, and I got to be careful what I say here, but it seems to me, and I'm personally not buying any ETH on spot here. The reason is because I already bought a lot of ETH on spot here around this area back in November 2022, right? I've already loaded up on ETH. I'm only buying ETH if it dips below 1,000, okay? This is basically my entry for ETH, okay? My spot ETH bag, I literally rode it all the way up and all the way back down, okay? But the way I look at it, if the bull market's going to continue, it's almost riskier not to be holding ETH than to be holding ETH, because even if we drop to $300, the reward potential is still more than the risk, and I can't even fathom ETH dropping below $300. That's foolishness to me. So of course anything could happen, but it's absolute foolishness to me to assume that ETH is going to go lower than the bear market of 2022. That's asinine to me. I'm going to take that risk that ETH is not going to drop below the 2022 bear market, all right? To me, that's a pretty good odds. So even if we drop to 300, it's a really good risk to reward. If we hold the support of 800, that's a 5-to-1 risk reward if we hit a $5,500 ETH. This is a pretty conservative target in my opinion. $5,500 ETH. Our previous all-time high is almost $5,000, all right? It's a conservative target. It's a good risk to reward. Now, my other target for ETH is 8,000, around 8,500, give or take. That right there is a phenomenal risk to reward, in my opinion, okay? Now, this is not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor, but, you know, when it comes to investing, you gotta take a chance sometimes. And right now, I say this is a pretty low-risk opportunity in the sense that I'm looking at this chart. I'm saying to myself, okay, Bitcoin's looking like she wants to make another run. I'm still hoping in the 4-year cycle where the top's not in yet. ETH has gotten a retracement all the way down to bear market prices. In other words, we're at the same place now we were in the bottom of the bear market. Even if ETH gets a retracement down to $300, we're still looking at, if we hit an $8,000 ETH, we're looking at a 5 times more reward than risk. If we hit a $5,000 ETH, we're looking still at 3 times more reward than risk, right? So these are my thoughts as I'm looking at these high time frame charts. Obviously, nothing's guaranteed, but you know, you had a lot of people that were back in January buying crypto just because Trump won the election. They got absolutely demolished. Now we're back to the place where we were a number of years ago after FTX went down. In my opinion, this is a good opportunity. I mean, the buy low, sell high mentality. I mean, and I am not a financial advisor, but I cannot imagine anybody going broke buying ETH here. Yeah, maybe you buy ETH here, maybe there's a black flag, maybe there's a war or something, or I don't know, but the point is, we're buying support. We're buying support. Okay, and the upward potential here is pretty good. I'm just throwing that out there. I'm not a financial advisor, guys. Okay, I'm just sharing my thoughts. I'm just the guy in the treadmill, all right? I'm just the guy in the treadmill. Let's take a look at Sol. All right. Now, Sol's a little bit different here. All right. Sol's a little bit different. Well, but when we look at Market Cipher B, we are printing a little bit of a hidden bull div here. It's not as nice as the Bitcoin hidden bull div. All right. But here's something else about Sol that I think is very important. When we look at where we're currently coming to, when we look at the weekly candle close, and let's put this on log scale. All right, we are coming to a very important support resistance flip. All right, this green line here was our support in September 2021, our resistance all throughout the spring of 2022. It was our resistance, I almost said last year, but time goes by. In 2023, we broke out, we retest. We're getting a fake out. All right, we're getting a fake out of the range. Now, remember on Bitcoin, we were talking about the fact that if Bitcoin can basically come back above the previous, what used to be support, which is now resistance, we expect to move back to the top of the range. Well, Solana has just closed a bullish engulfing weekly candle. Okay, that's a bullish candle after getting a fake out, right? We closed the weekly candle below the low of this range here. Then the second weekly candle opens up and bullish engulfing on the weekly as we're printing a green dot. If this green dot confirms in the next 5 days, look at the last green dot here. The last green dot on our weekly time frame resulted in 119 days of upside. If we get 119 days of upside, that will be, that's quite a few days. It's going to put us in August. All right? Right around the time where you would expect these big tops to come in for all these altcoins. If the 4-year cycle is intact, we're expecting that summer-ish top, right? So, you know, say what you will, think what you will, do what you will. But I'm getting excited because I am holding a lot of bags here. I'm holding a lot of Solana bags, holding a lot of ETH bags, holding a lot of Chainlink bags. Haven't sold any. I've sold my Bitcoin because Bitcoin made new all-time highs. But I haven't sold any of this stuff. And I'm really hoping to make out big on it, man. I got some big goals. I got some big plans. I got some big bills to pay, man. I'm late on my dang cell phone bill. You know, I got 2 phones. You know, one for the Bitcoin and one for the home. You know, one for work and one for family. You know, got those 2 phones. All right. And man, I'll tell you, those cell phone bills are expensive these days. Hello? Hello? Call myself. Hey, Jason, how you doing? Oh, pretty good, man. Just trading Bitcoin. All right. Now, yeah, so Sol coming back into the range, you know, could be a pretty big move here. Now, look, I could be wrong about all this. And again, these things take time. So I'll acknowledge the fact that this green dot is not confirmed yet. As we're looking at what happened in hindsight, you know, these big green dots are not confirmed yet. Okay? We have 5 days. So if it doesn't confirm and we dump lower, then this whole idea goes out the window. But remember, we just have gone over the fact that when these green dots confirm, then in about a 3-week time, boom, off to the races. So we're halfway through April. April. I like to eat apples and bananas. We're halfway through the month of April already. Isn't that crazy? Which means at the end of the week is Tuesday, Wednesday the 16th, Thursday the 17th, Friday the 18th, Saturday the 19th, Sunday the 20th, the 21st of April. That'll put us halfway through May. All right? If this green dot confirms, halfway through May, which will put us right around here, May 15th is when we're going to see something crazy happen. So green dot could confirm on Bitcoin. All right, just going based on the historical data. Green dot confirms on Bitcoin. Maybe we come up, fake out, come down, make a something like this where, you know, we make our head and shoulders pattern, our shoulder, head and shoulder, or we do another run of the low just to get everybody super bearish, right? Can you imagine? We take the high, reject from the level, make a run for the lows again, everybody freaks out, boom! All right, halfway through May, we get our big pump. Because remember, if we come back down into the danger zone, we are coming to major support. And on our daily time frame, if we come back down into that zone, as things are looking right now, we are going to have something like this happen. All right, so we come up, we get our you know, our red dot or whatever. Then we come down, take some time here, and then we get our bullish divergence second drive on the daily, okay? And the weekly is going to look like this, all right? If that happens, the weekly will probably just do something like similar to what happened over here, right? We get that like double bottom on the weekly. We get the just kidding green dot a little bit lower, and then that gives us our real bottom. Happens all the time, right? So be watching for the confirmation of the green dot. If it confirms halfway through May, I'm looking for a big pump on Bitcoin, and then alts will follow. You know, it's looking pretty juice. Now, we take a look at some other things too. Chainlink. This is my last major support for Chainlink. Chainlink's looking a little bit more sad than the rest, honestly. But I would say this about Chainlink. All right, we obviously broke the major resistance. We came down for the retest. We made a higher high. We're coming down, potentially making a higher low here. And we are printing a potential trigger wave on the weekly. Chainlink does not look as good as the others, I'll be honest with you. It really does not look as good as the others. But I would be bullish on Chainlink if everything else is pumping. All right. For me right now, Chainlink, I don't really like where we're at as far as supports. I really don't. This obviously is like a support locally here, and it maintains the bullish market structure. So the only thing going for Chainlink right now is we're coming down to the high volume node of the consolidation that we made between August 2024 and November 2024, right? The pre-Trump consolidation high volume node. If this can hold and everything else pumps, I think we're good. If not, I would be looking to take this low again of August of last year into this high volume node, because that would be a really juicy level, man. But I'm not worried about that until I see that everything, you know, if this green dot confirms on Bitcoin, to me, the Bitcoin's leading the race. All right, Bitcoin's leading the race. Take a look at XR Pizzle. Let's remove everything on XR Pizzle here. Yeah, XRP, look, I would say this as well. XRP is very similar to Solana. We had the local range. This is the weekly time frame. Okay, so this is a few months of consolidation here. We took that low. We closed the weekly candle, very bullish, a very bullish weekly close last week. So I'm feeling it, man. I'm feeling like all these things are set up for a pump. Okay, are we going to hit new all-time highs? It's up for debate. I think eventually we are going to, honestly. But it could be a little bit of a bumpy ride there. We might reject it 90K. We might reject it 97K Bitcoin. Right? Those are key resistances. 97K is going to be very, very key. Basically, this little weekly order block that we have up here. Right? 97K. That's going to be very important resistance. We reclaim 97. We're in my opinion, 115K. Could happen in May. Could happen in May. Let's see. Halfway through May. Let's check it out. Let's wait and see. Let's zoom into a lower time frame on Bitcoin. Check out what we got a brewing. Because we are today trading in this little tiny range here. And over the weekend here on Saturday, we made a high. Now, you always got to keep your eye on the high and the low of the weekend. Because if you're a day trader, if you're a scalp trader, the weekend highs and the weekend lows, most of the time, are going to be revisited and stop hunted. Right? So we took the high here, revisited, stop hunted. We've had a move to the downside so far today of about 1.74%. This, I would say, is our local range to be trading right now if you're a scalper, if you're a day trader. This right here is our local range. Go ahead and pull the volume. All right, I would expect actually we come down a little bit lower. And I honestly wouldn't even be surprised if we come for the lows that we made right here at around $83,000. Because here's the thing about $83,000, okay? I know we're getting a move down today, and I'm talking about being bullish, but I'm on the high time frames. Now we're going to zoom into the low time frames. All right, let's keep this level here on our chart, because this right here, not only is it a weekend low, guys, this is a very, very important level in general for Bitcoin. And the reason is because when we take a look at everything here, when we pull this volume of pretty much the range that we traded in after the breakdown, right? So we got the Trump range, right? The Trump wins FOMO pump range. All right, it's the Trump wins FOMO pump range. So we call it the TWFPR. The Trump wins FOMO pump range. The TWFTR is up here. As soon as we lose the TWFTR, we start to form a new fair value zone underneath the TWFPR. This is called the Trump rug pulled us range. All right, the TPRUR. All right, Trump rug pulled us range. Right, talks a big game, releases a meme coin, and then just pumps a whole bunch of bearish stuff out every time him and Elon Musk open their mouth. Right. So what happens here is we're forming this range, and our level here, our weekend low, is exactly the high volume node of that mini range, the TRPUR, Trump rug pulled us range. And so if the price can reclaim that level and back test it, that's very bullish. That's very bullish. Now we did do that, right? We reclaimed, we back tested, but this happened over a weekend, right? So now that the week is started again, and now that, because I know this is so weird, but like a lot of people who trade, like they trade like during the day only, and they don't trade on weekends. They have these other weird things called like families and friends and lives. It's very strange to me. I didn't understand it at first, but like your traditional like trader guy, you know, suit and tie, you know, he goes home to his thing called like a family. He has these things called friends too, and they like hang out. I don't know, right? Because I'm always here at the chart all day, on the treadmill all day, even all night on the treadmill, even in the bathroom. I shower on the treadmill, I poop on the treadmill. It's crazy, man. You should smell this place. But a lot of times that weekend liquidity will be taken. So we saw the weekend high taken. Are we now going to see the weekend low taken, come and back test this major key level and then get a pump? I think it's very likely this week, based all things considered. The fact that we have the green dot printing, right? The fact that it's Tuesday, low volatility, right? This is a very key zone. Again, this is also, if we take the fib from the high to the low, it's the Fibonacci golden pocket. So we're basically back testing, very important. What used to be resistance now is support. And if we hold, let's just say 82.5 for the sake of for the sake of this daily level, this daily order block or whatever here, right? 82.5. We hold 82.5, and then as soon as we reclaim 83K again, to me that's very bullish, and I would expect that we come up to around $90,000 to knock on the door of the TWFPR, right? The Trump wins FOMO range value area low, right? We're going to come up to that, this blue line right up here, around $90,000, okay? So that's kind of what I'm looking at now. We go down to our 1 hour time frame. What do we got brewing? You know, we had a nice bearish divergence here when we made that high. We had some bear divs across the entirety of the range, money flow coming out. All right, so really now what we'd be looking for is just the opposite. We come down to the bottom of the range, the local range, right? We would want to see as we come down here, maybe, you know, the momentum giving us another bullish divergence like we saw over here, right? Our bullish divergence, bam, to the upside. Bearish divergence, boom, to the downside. Bullish divergence, boom, to the upside. Right, that's what I'd be looking for, right? When we come back down for that back test again of like 83.3. And, you know, I've been talking for like 17 hours right now. We have 1,700 people in the chat. We have 1,000 likes. God bless you all. Thank you so much for smashing the likes. We have 2 super chats. Shout out to Lost Liberty. Can we look at Telcoin? Yeah, we could look at Telcoin. Shout out to my man Jason Casper's Chicken. What's going on, bro? He says, Jason, you have been so on point, so I have to ask, how does Moonwell and Aerodrome look? What are realistic tops for both of these? Well, we'll have to take a look at the chart, okay? Make sure to smash up the likes, guys. And I do have to say, I have to give a major shout out to BLOFIN, because BLOFIN is offering 10% cash back to everything you deposit. Literally 10% cash back. Plus, they're regularly giving away $100. All right, yesterday we gave away $500, courtesy of BLOFIN, to people who sign up under my link. You don't even need to deposit in order to win $100. We're doing this on a monthly basis. All right. Also, BITUNIX right now is giving you 20% back what you deposit up to $400, and also a chance to win juicy prizes based on your ROI. So it's not based on your trading volume like a lot of the exchanges say. If you trade $23 billion, you can win a watch. All right. This is based on your ROI. Okay. So whoever signs up under my link, you only need to trade 10,000 volume. That's so low. All right. And you could win 30 XRP, 1 Solana. The first place wins an iPhone or $1,200. And I don't have a lot of people trade it. I just started partnering with them right now. So you have a pretty good chance of winning. Just throwing that out there. All right. You have a pretty good chance of winning. There's 15 days left. And they're going to show you your rankings and all that stuff. All right. So you can come to the website right now. This user right here is in first place for volume. All right. Potentially gonna win some juicy prizes. All right. Also got to give a shout out to the Casper Crew VIP Discord, the best trading community in the world, where we give the trade setups in advance. Myself and multiple instructors, multiple times a day, doing our live streams. Thriving trading community. Plus, inside the Casper Crew VIP Discord, there's a whole beginner's course in there, a whole bunch of cool stuff. Check it out, jasoncaspertrading.com. And what else? Guys, next week, I'm going to release a free trading course. I'm going to start to release a free trading course next week. So stay tuned for that. All right, so a little longer than I expected. But I'm going to be releasing a free trading course next week. It's totally free on YouTube. And it's going to go over everything, man. So, we got some super chats. We got to take a look at some super chats. All right, some super chats in the house. All right, shout out to Splashfire Films. He says we call it BLOFIN. Shout out to the mods. All right. Shout out to Crypto Crank. Shout out to Michael Jason. You signed up with the link. How do you get your cash back deposit for your deposit? Which exchange? For BLOFIN or for BITUNIX? For BLOFIN, I think you have to trade. I think you have to trade to get your deposit back, your 10%. BITUNIX will tell you on the website. The $100 giveaways, that's based on what I do here on this YouTube channel. All right. Shout out to Garlic Powder. I love me some Garlic Powder. Shout out to Stream. What are my thoughts on the OM crash? That's a good question. Well, I almost FOMO'd into a low leverage long on OM the other day. I missed my opportunity. Let's take a quick look at that. Then we'll look at our Telcoin and our others. I can't even find it now. Hang on. Let's see here. Find my ticker. Well, it did pump a lot. For some reason, I can't find it here. Oh, I'm on stocks. There you go. Yeah, it did pump a little bit here. I don't know anything about why this happened, but within like half an hour, you know, we got a major dump within a few hours, massive dump. If anyone caught that, like, congratulations, man. That's a nice 260%. So I don't know. It's like a total rug. It's a total rug. So these things are risky. But here's how I approach this kind of stuff. I mean, I'm not qualified to give an answer on this, but I would say the way I approach stuff like this is either you can look to trade the range. Like I was trading Luna Classic, you know, after that whole thing like was delisted and then came back as Luna Classic, making gains, just trading, just day trading it, right? Another thing you could do is, I don't know what this thing looks like fundamentally, but I mean, man, this is wild, right? If we come back to test the support resistance flip, that's another 350%, right? Sometimes I enter small spot positions, but you got to do your research because I don't know the details of this rug, okay? You got to do your research, but sometimes you got to think to yourself, you know, what's the risk reward right now? If the low just so happens to be in, right? And we get a retrace, which looks like we already got our retrace, right? We're talking a good risk reward ratio here. Looks like we already got our retracement, so unfortunately that's already been missed. So from the low to the high, we came down to the 886 and we already got our bounce. So yeah. All right, let's take a look at Telcoin. We'll take a look at Telcoin. BITUNIX is great, says Alex. BITUNIX is great. All right. You got to be a bit crazy investing in a 90% rug. Yes. Yeah. So here's the thing, guys. Do your dang research on it. Here's the thing. A lot of times, it's always risky investing in a rug. Don't invest a lot of money in a rug. But you do oftentimes see that relief bounce that comes from people just saying, what the heck? Let me buy this thing when it's worth nothing and see what happens, right? So you got to approach it with that mindset of let's see what happens. You're not doing it because you think it's going to turn out good. You're doing it because it might turn out good, and you could risk very little to potentially make very much, right? So please, don't hear me wrong here. I'm not telling anybody to buy that. I'm not buying it. I didn't long it. Nothing like that. I don't plan to. So Telcoin, the first thing I notice on the weekly time frame is this. A very bullish weekly candle close, closing back inside the range. Let's go to the daily. Bullish divergence on the daily. Money flow looks like crap. But we are, in fact, making our way to... Let's see here. Okay, yeah, the value area low. Man. So... Alright. Just an idiot here on YouTube, sock on the head, looking like a 12-year-old Amish kid. People say, Jason, why don't you grow your beard out? This is why, guys. Alright? This is why. I tried to comb it too, you know? I just look like a 12-year-old Amish kid. Look how patchy that is. You know, I didn't even hit puberty until I was like 27. Alright? I didn't have armpit hair when I got married. Alright? In fact, no joke, on my first date with my wife, I penciled in the armpit hair so she'd think I was more manly. It came with some mascara, a little mustache, made it a little swirly. Tried to have a French accent. I knew she was into foreign accents. I'm like, ooh, oui, oui, madame. It was the sock on the head that made her not go out with me the second time, but eventually I did win her over. All right? My wife knows how to buy low and sell high. Now, Telcoin. Let's see. If Bitcoin's bottomed out, then this thing is probably bottomed out too. We're coming down to the only support we have. We're getting a bounce back inside the range. What would be a higher confirmation long play on this? Reclaim of the market structure, back test, and then bounce. This would be a perfect setup, like a textbook bottom is in setup, right? We have a bullish divergence. That's our bottom signal. We change market structure, confirmation of the trend reversal. We get our retest by the dip mode because we're confident that the trend is changing. And that's where we look to get in, all right? And then we could look for the value area high and potentially a new high. Now, where do I think this is going to top out? It's very difficult to say because I don't have a lot of data here. Let's see if Binance has more data. I don't think Binance even has this thing listed. Oh, wait, let me get off your perpetuals. KuCoin, maybe KuCoin has more data here. Let's remove all this. Okay, this is what we're talking about, baby. This is what we're talking about, baby. All right, let's see here. Let's pull some Fibonacci extensions. All right. Let's pull some Fib extensions. Okay, so our 1-to-1 it's going to be around there, our 1.272. I don't know anything about Altcoin, okay? I don't. But based on the trend-based Fibonacci extensions, some targets that we could reasonably have for this would be coming to our 1.272. It's around 8 cents, potentially up to 10 cents at the 1.618. All right. That is about a 1,500% move from here. It's not so crazy, considering we've seen tens of thousands of percents in the last cycle. That would give us a 8,000, 9,000% move from the bottom in 2023. All right. So, yeah, those would be some targets. I'm not too familiar with what Altcoin even is. So again, you gotta get based on the fundamentals. If you're bullish on this thing, if Bitcoin's gonna bottom out and we're gonna have an alt season, right now, what we're seeing locally looks nice. If Bitcoin's gonna do what I hope it does with the confirmation of the green dot on the weekly, this is looking nice. It's looking like Solana in a sense. It's looking like XRP in a sense. We've taken the local low of the range, okay? We got another super chat. We got to give a major shout to Jason Casper's Chicken. Wants to look at Moonwell. All right, let's look at Moonwell. Man, Moonwell not looking the best here, at least on Coinbase. Let's check out, see if we have any more history on Bybit. Is this the same coin? Looks like crap. I don't know what to say about it. I guess this is the one, the KuCoin one, right? Is this the right one? Moonwell / Tether? Okay, so let's take a look here. We don't have any bullish divergence on the weekly. Let's see here. Let's pull off log scale. All right, so the only thing we have good going for us here is the trend line and a trigger wave on the weekly. Let's check out the daily. No bull divs on the daily either, you know. No bull divs on the daily either. So here's what we can say. Here's what we can say, like, definitively. Obviously, this is major support because we had this structure right here. All right, it broke out the trend line, came for the retest, and then we have our box, this horizontal level, which was resistance, 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 flip, support, support. Okay, so we are at support. We are seeing the daily look nice. It would look much nicer if we had one more little dip lower. Okay, if we had one more little dip lower. As far as targets go, the only thing we can really do is deal with our trend-based extensions here. So let's do this here. You know, we already hit the 1-to-1 and got a retracement. So our next target here, ooh, we even hit our 1.272. So our next two targets would be between 13 cents and 16 cents at our 618 to our 2-to-1 fib extension up here. That would be our next target. I'm not saying this is going to happen, I'm just saying this would be the next target based on the, it's like 600%. Alright. Aerodrome. This can't be right. Hang on. Is this right? Aerodrome Finance? Oh, man. I don't really have much to say about it. I'm really sorry. Like, we're in price discovery mode to the downside. If we make a higher low and then we make a higher high, like that's the only thing we could like hope for, right? At this point is a higher low. I don't really have much to say about it. You know, it's a pretty nasty looking chart. The one thing I will say about it is when it does pump, if it pumps, because I don't know, right? If it pumps, we're going to squeeze fast and hard here. All right. Because there's a lot of liquidity to be taken. We get a quick move to the upside. So it's kind of a risk. It's kind of a gamble. If you're a high risk person, then this is a high risk setup. We don't really have bullish divergences here, okay? We're going only on the fact that we closed the weekly candle back above the previous low, and we're looking for a breakout of this, and that we got a fake out of this, and now we're coming back in, all right? This is a 12-to-1 risk reward. It's a very aggressive, I'd say it's a low risk in a sense that if you're risking 1 to make 12, that's low risk, high reward, but the probability is not the highest, all right? Probability is not the highest, and I would simply just be looking to come back for now to the top of the range, right? We're looking at this as a range trade. Buy the support, sell at the resistance, right? That's what we're looking at this as. We have a bullish falling wedge. We had a fake out of the wedge. We could be looking potentially now for the move back to the upside. All right, all right, all right. Let's see who else we've got in the chat. Shout out to Sababa V. It's not a complete graph. Okay. El Punto Verde, El Super Verde. What's my chicken's name? The only chickens that I have named is Honeydew. She's one of our first hens. She's like 6 years old now. Sheesh. Still lays eggs too. Funny thing is, she had 7 siblings who all died within months. They just were not very sturdy, that breed. And then we decided, screw heritage breeds, screw getting our chickens like from like these breeders that like don't vaccinate and like care about the breed. We're just gonna get the hatchery soulless chickens, which we did. You know, the hatchery chickens with no soul. Honeydew has a soul. All right, she has a soul. The other one's no soul. And then we just breed the soulless chickens with each other, and now we have all these weird chickens running around there with no name and no soul. But we always do name our roosters that we keep. So we got Chocolate Chip and Peanut Butter Chip right now. Those are our only 2 roosters. We had some other roosters that passed away. Cockerdoo passed away. Milkshake passed away. Cockerdoo, he was one of Honeydew's siblings who died. He died of like an eye infection. Milkshake got his head ripped off by some kind of predator. Sam Bankman Fried Chicken, he got eaten by a fox. And then we had another one named Big Shot. He got eaten too. We had a lot of roosters. They get eaten. They get eaten, man. So, at least they protect the hens. At least they protect the hens. Alright, Bitcoin is still doing a whole bunch of nada. BTC doing a whole bunch of nada. We have to launch a chicken coin. El hijo de Dios, sí, señor. Yeah, we do. We do. Can we take a quick look at AVAX? Yeah, we could look at AVAX. Do I think it's possible to make $1 million using only spot and no leverage? Yeah, Roboballs, of course. But you got to have capital, I think, unless you're doing like the memes. But yeah, if you have some capital, hundreds of thousands, it's possible. It's possible. Or, I mean, if you only have thousands, it could be possible too with some of these crazy coins. Yeah, Sam Bankman Fried Chicken. I had I did have a. He's somewhere. He's on my YouTube channel somewhere. Sam Bankman Fried Chicken was featured on Jason Casper's YouTube channel. I don't know if I'll ever be able to find him, though. I don't know if I'll ever be able to find Sam Bankman Fried Chicken on here. Oh yeah, here he is. Sam Bankman Fried Chicken. Here, let's check him out here. Good old SBF, man. We're gonna take an SBF break. Yep, his name is Sam Bankman Fried Chicken. Now, he's always the one screwing all these little chickens over here. That's right, y'all. There's a lot of hanky-panky going on in the crypto space and other spaces. And here's one of the best ways that you can stay free and self-sufficient. Yeah, man, Sam Bankman Fried Chicken, man. I miss that guy. He was a good guy. He was beautiful. Look at the golden neck feathers. That's why I kept him, didn't eat him. Look at the golden neck feathers and that big crown. It's hard to see in this low... It is Sam Bankman Fried Chicken. Man, God, I miss Sam Bankman Fried Chicken. Poor SBF. Not the SBF in jail, but this guy, you know. He was just doing his thing out there. You know? What were we going to take a look at again? We're going to look at something, right? Let's see. We're going to take a look at something, right? What were we going to look at? Man, I forget. What were we going to look at? Oh, shout out to FOMOG for the super chat. He wants to look at Dogecoin. All right, let's take a look at Doge then, since we got a super chat. Starting the weekly here. Alright, so Doge is at support. We don't have any kind of weekly divergences here. But we are back testing major support. Major support of like the breakout. Let's go ahead and pull our volume profile. Okay, so Dogecoin is coming back to test the value area high. Let's check out the rise. Yeesh. Alright, we'll keep it over here. We'll keep it like this. Alright. The value area high of the last 4 years. Let's go ahead and pull some fibs. Low to high. Alright, we're bouncing from the 786. You know, we don't really have any like major signs of strength for Doge. The only good thing we have for it is a daily bullish divergence. Alright, daily looks good. We don't really have a range like we have for these other coins. So here's the thing. I would say Doge is forming one of these, right? Which could give us a bullish break here. But unfortunately, I would say we need to wait for a confirmed breakout and retest of the trend line before we get ultra bullish on Doge. This could be facilitated by a bullish May for Bitcoin, right? So again, we need to wait for Bitcoin. Bitcoin in 5 days, is it 5 days? Yeah, 5 days, will either confirm or deny a green dot. If it confirms the green dot, then we're looking for, in about 3 weeks, Pump City, around May 15th, okay? And so, I'd be keeping my eyes on Doge I don't think it's going to do anything before Bitcoin. So I'll be keeping my eyes on Doge, and if Bitcoin does the bullish thing that we want to see, right, then we simply just, when we see Doge get a break, we could look for this whole thing to squeeze, and it could squeeze fast and quick. Quick, fast, and in a hurry. Quick and thick, says Mr. Pump-A-Lot. Quick and thick. Shout out to Baldy. Yo, what's going on? What's going on? Alright. Alrighty. Alright, guys. I'm gonna head out. It's been a good stream, a good hour. Thank you all for being here. Thank you guys for liking, subscribing, clicking the bell. God bless you all. In Jesus' name, even if you're not religious. And Lord willing, I'll be back tomorrow, guys. So, have a great night. Peace.